Welcome to another episode of the Catalyst Podcast, the Tomorrow is Here series, where we discuss narratives that are shaping the governance philosophy and governance model of Enugu State under the visionary leadership of Governor Peter Ndubuisimba. I'm here today with an interesting personality, a man that has seen it all both at the grassroots level and now, I will not say you are far from the grassroots because you have been a member of the House of Assembly and now the local government chairman of Enugu North local government. The city mayor, we call him no other person but Dr. Ibenaku Onoh, one of the youngest mayors that are making young people proud in Enugu State. Welcome to the Catalyst Podcast, sir.
Thank you for having
me. You're always looking smart and simple, but very, very deep in thought.
I'm learning from you, sir.
So, I just want to ask, you have been a member of the State House of Assembly, I think one time, right?
Yes.
So,
2019
what?
2019 to
2023. So, and now you are the local government chairman of Enugu North local government, one of the most vibrant local governments in Enugu State. When you come talk about what's happening, most of the city clusters and everything centers around the Enugu North local government. Very vibrant local government. So how has the journey been for you? How has life been for you, having experienced the legislative arm and now the executive arm of government under the local government cadre?
Yes, so thank you for having me. Yes, so like you said, I was a member of the House of Assembly from 2019 to 2023, and then again, by the grace of God, I found myself as the chairman of Enugu North local government area from 2024 till now. And I would describe the experience in two ways. Mm-hmm. One is from the governance perspective. Of course, having been a member of the House of Assembly, which is the legislative arm, and now an executive chairman of a local government, it's a blend of two different worlds, the legislative arm and the executive arm. Yeah. And for me, in terms of governance, it has helped deepen my knowledge of governance. In my local government, I have the legislative arm well constituted, made up of 13 councillors with the leader of the House, who is, of course, the equivalent of the speaker at the state level. So, for me, that experience from these two different worlds has helped me understand governance at that level and also given me better ability to manage the affairs of my local government and understand the clear separation of powers between the legislative arm and the executive arm. And also in terms of the politics, having also been around, I ran for election in 2019 and was elected a member of the House of Assembly. I also tried to go back again in 2023, but of course I lost to Labour at the time before coming to be the chairman of the local government. So putting all these things together has also helped deepen my knowledge of the grassroots and my connection with the people of Enugu North local government area. So that's my journey so far.
You came from your own words, because I know that you contested in 2023 to go back as a member of the State House of Assembly. But you were heard like it was so difficult for you because then we had the obedience movement wave, right? Was it an integral part of what pushed you to go serve your people at the grassroots? Was the obedient movement wave that made you not to go back in 2023? Will I say, is it a blessing for you?
Well, for me, 2023 was a journey, and of course we did our best, tried to get all the votes that were possible to get, but unfortunately the ones we got were not enough to guarantee our victory at the time. So we lost that election, but we didn't stop working. We didn't stop trying to contribute in the little ways that we could from the outside. And again, by divine providence, and also from the kindness of the governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter Ndubuisimba, who, of course, saw the passion with which we did what we did at the House of Assembly. And again, with the support of the people of Enugu North local government area, who also voted for us in 2024, we were able to emerge as, I was able to emerge as the chairman of the local government. But for me, the 2023 journey was just, it wasn't just in Enugu, it wasn't just in Enugu North. It was something that, somehow happened everywhere in Nigeria. So I wouldn't say that it pushed me in this direction. I think it was divine providence that really just pushed me in this direction. But one thing that I would remain grateful for is the fact that as a member of the House of Assembly, there were certain things that I would have wanted to do for my people, right? Because, as a member of the House of Assembly, you don't have any statutory allocations.
Yeah.
You can only lobby for certain things to be done. But now crossing over to this side, it gives me the ability to be able to execute those projects. So some of the things, the immediate things that I did after I resumed were things that I had hoped that I could do while I was in the House of Assembly. So I quickly started doing them, talking about things like roads and certain interventions that I would have wanted to do, but the availability of resources at the time didn't permit me to do it as a member of the House of Assembly. But as a local government chairman now, you have more flexibility because you have your statutory allocations. You have more flexibility to be able to execute projects for your people.
Yeah. So, that's 2023. I followed through a lot that happened politically in Enugu State, and when you talk of the national political somersault that really happened to PDP then, right? What do you think is the lesson? What was the mistake that PDP, as of then, when Enugu State was in PDP, did that? Because I know that you passed through everything, you understood everything, you went to campaign, you knew the problem, and you know that since someone have already passed through something, experience, they say, is the best teacher. What do you think should have happened differently? And what do you think we should do, or the state should do now, so that we will not fall into such kind of problem again?
Yes, so again, 2023 was, like I said earlier, it wasn't just an Enugu thing.
Yeah.
It was a Nigerian thing, right? The Labour Party at the time sort of had a wave. It happened in 2015 when the APC wave was very prominent in the north. So in 2023, it was our turn in the south to also experience that kind of wave. But for me, just like you said, there are quite some lessons that should have been learned from that, right? And those lessons go both ways. I would say one would be for the electorates and one would be for us that are in government. And for me, in my local government, I have decided to start very early. I think that one of the things was that we didn't see that wave coming, so we didn't start early, right? So for me, in my local government, we started early in terms of engagements with our people, getting our people to understand what the governor is doing, getting our people to understand what we are doing at the local government, and also getting them involved in the politics. A couple of weeks ago, we were at Ogbete to inaugurate the APC chapter of Ogbete. It had never happened before because we typically used to see the market people as purely business people and the politicians as those ones doing the politics. But, from my experience in 2023, because at some point we started going to those markets, but they had made up their minds on where they wanted to go to. So I'm not leaving that chance again. So we want to continue to engage our people. Any sphere that you have a cluster of people, you approach them, you start talking to them early. So it's not a case of when we are now, when the election is now around the corner, we begin to try to make those engagements. And I also see the governor doing that, constant engagements with the people. And above everything, I believe this 2027 election will be a lot easier because the governor also started very early in terms of executing projects in every aspect of Enugu, in every aspect of governance, in every part of Enugu. So I believe that those lessons that should have been learned have actually been learned, and they're very, very prominent.
Okay, now will you say that poor sensitization made people to make certain choices in 2023? Because that time, I know that many people, when you want to talk to them, they will tell you that since ABCD has said he's going here, that they want to go here, right? So, will I say the bandwagon effect caused that tsunami to happen? So, I think poor sensitization was part of the problem, or are you not seeing it that way?
Well, again, I had said my answer to the previous question was going to be from two sides. One, from the side of the government, and then again from the side of the electorate. And I think that one of the main lessons that the electorate, rather from conversations and engagements that I've had, one of the main lessons that has also been learned is that people now actually pay attention to the faces behind the political parties. Right, because in 2023, you just had people vote because it was a particular political party. Like people voted for people they had never heard of, people they didn't know about. Yeah. So it was after the elections that people now sat down and said, okay, we have done this. So I think that people have also learned to pay attention to the faces behind those political parties. So in law, it's a principle that we call lifting the corporate veil. So people now want to unmask, yes, who is that person? Yes, you're coming from a political party, but we want to know who you are.
Yeah.
So from most of the engagements that I've had, one of the lessons that I believe people have learned is to want to know who those candidates are, right? I don't know how effective that would be, or I don't know how wide-reaching that would be, but I know that a couple of people learned that they should go beyond just the party to also ask questions about certain candidates in the election. And for me, sensitization is a very fundamental part of politics. Engagement is a very fundamental part of politics. Yeah. So I believe that whatever sensitization we did, level of engagement we did before the 2023 election was simply not enough. Right, so we are trying to intensify it this time. You also see the governor trying to intensify his own engagement with the people this time. So I believe that those lessons have been learned.
In 2023, most people voted massively against the sitting, let's say, the political party that was holding the state as of then, because they will say that they had more poor infrastructural development. They didn't, get that more dividends of democracy and development across the nooks and crannies of the state. So it also made them, it acted like as a catalyst for them to revolt against the then administration that was trying to bring a new government. So do you think that under Governor Peter Nubisimba, do you think that it will be possible for them to say that this government is not, the government of Governor Mba is not meeting up to the expectation?
I honestly do not see where somebody would come from. I don't see what anybody can do better than Governor Mba is doing in terms of, every aspect that you mentioned. Are you talking about transport? Of course, we see the terminals, we see the CNG buses, and very soon we'll begin to see the taxis all around Enugu. Is it in terms of healthcare? The governor is constructing 260 primary healthcare centers in every ward of Enugu State. Is it in terms of education? The governor invested 3% of the entire budget of the state consistently for years. He's done it now into the education sector. Is it in terms of driving the IGR? I mean, he has created alternative ways of generating money, and Enugu is at the verge of actually being able to sustain, or rather I'm sure we're able to sustain ourselves from just the money that we generate internally, right? Not even relying on FAC. And this is not from, this is essentially from creating alternative ways, driving or attracting the right partnerships into the states, also revamping other moribund assets of the state. So for me, I actually don't see that somebody can do better than the governor is doing. And this is as a result of a blend of multiple things, the kind of personality he has. He's a serious-minded person. He's serious 24 hours, from morning till night, he's serious. And he also has the genuineness of purpose, the honesty of intentions. So I believe that what the Enugu people are experiencing is a blend of these two God-given principles or God-given characteristics that the governor has. So indeed, I actually don't see any major opposition coming. When I look at the people that, could be possible contestants in 2027 election, I mean, it's funny to me because I don't see the match. I don't see where or how that person can do anything even close to what the governor is doing, or even think of surpassing what he is doing. So as far as I'm concerned, Governor Mba in Enugu State is a blessing to us now. And I also have, like I said, we've been engaging our people. And the Enugu people are determined to protect this gift that God has given us. So in 2027 election, I don't see opposition. I really see that it's going to be the easiest election for us in the state.
Oh, fantastic. So, the governor has so often spoken about partnering with local government, in terms of grassroots development. How has this partnership helped to boost development in your council? How has this partnership been able to help you to deliver the dividends of democracy to your people?
Yes, thank you. So, again, from the beginning, immediately we came on board. The first meeting we had with the governor, it was focused on development. Go and work for your people, go and do this for your people. So he charged us, after the swearing in, he charged each and every one of us to go and pay attention to the specific needs of your local government and begin to address them. But one thing that is very, very different about being a local government chairman in Enugu is the level of support that we enjoy from the government, right, and from the state government, in terms of, if you're doing a project and it gets to a point where you feel like you need some extra support, the governor steps in and supports. Meanwhile, in some states, I won't mention any particular states, but in some states, you see that at the end of the month, they have a meeting with their governor and decide what they're going to do with their money. But in Enugu State, it is go and work for your people with the money that you have. And in addition to that, if you have areas where you need support, it comes in with that support. There are certain things that are the constitutional role of the local government, for example, primary health care, right? But the governor has stepped into it and he's given us all the support that we need. So also in terms of maybe the roads and other kinds of infrastructure we are trying to provide for our people, if you get to a point where you require some extra support and you approach him, he always comes through. So for me, that partnership has worked out very well and continues to work out for the benefit of Enugu.
A fantastic one. And so the federal government will often talk about financial autonomy for the local government, right? But he said that Governor Mbah was already practicing financial autonomy within the 17 councils in Enugu State before the federal government gave this order. What do you have to say about it?
You've answered the question, and it's also consistent to what I just said, the answer I just gave you. So I came into office on the 30th of September 2024, and from then up until when they started talking about autonomy, we had autonomy. I had experienced autonomy. It was a case of, at the end of the month, when your money comes in, you decide where you channel the money, you decide what projects you're going to execute for your people. So, for me, Enugu State had been practicing financial autonomy even before, the attention that the state government, the federal government started giving to it. And beyond even the autonomy, I've just told you that, sometimes it's also a case of even giving us support so that day, because he understands that, for development to be evenly spread, you also need those various local governments to be doing things. The local government is the third tier of government. It's the closest to the people, right? So there are certain things, there are certain areas that it is the local government chairman that can pay attention to. So he wants to tap into that. He wants development to get to every part of Enugu. So in addition to allowing us the flexibility to express ourselves in terms of projects for our people, and also be able to address the problems that are very different local governments, there are different dynamics. This local government's problem can be ABC, while this other local government's problems can be C, D, and E. So he wants you to address those problems based on your own local government. So for me in Enugu, it's 110% financial autonomy. So
you seem to be driven by the hunger to serve your people. What is the biggest project you hope to achieve or already achieve for people as the local government chairman of Enugu North?
Yes, so that's a very tricky question. So for us, we've been able to do a couple of things in terms of constructing road. We are wrapping up the fourth road that we've constructed in our 14 or 15 months in office. We've done about three. We've done about three, asphalted 3, and we're doing the last one now. And we've also been able to do a couple of things like the terminal that we did, mini terminal that we did at New Market. Did a couple of
you did a mini terminal?
Yes, at New Market.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a busy cluster there. So
you are following the footsteps of Mbah.
Yes, of course, urban renewal. So we saw that was needed in that place, so we did that. But in addition to the infrastructural things that we did, there are quite a few things that we've done that, on a daily basis, I'm very proud of. There might not be big things in terms of infrastructure, because of course there are certain things that the governor believes should be taken for granted. That you've done a road is not something that should, be a big deal anymore. The governor flags off 1,000 and something roads and constructs them at the same time. So he has sort of made us understand that the fact that you did a road is not something that should be celebrated. These are things that should be basic for our people. But for me, I think that one of the most fundamental things that we've done is the way we have sort of digitized governance at the local government, right? So before now, when we came on board, one of the things that we realized was that the system for the market administration was so fragmented and organized and not organized, right? So we built a portal that now helps us manage the shop allocation system of the markets that we have. So we have, across our markets, we have about 30,000 shops in different markets. Of course, Obuete is a market under us. New Market, which is Area Market, is a market under us. So for us, these markets exist, but the process for managing the allocations of this market was in a very, very bad state. So we've created a portal, and we've captured about 12 to 13,000 of those shops now. So it's more like the local government version of NGs, right? So what NGs does with lands at the state level is what the system that we created at local government is doing with the shop allocations in the market. So it's eliminated every kind of fraud, and also giving us the data. If I want to know the number of shops that I have in the markets, and also know the owners of those shops, from a click on the computer, we can tell those things. So streamlining the governance at that level, and also trying to digitize some of the processes in the local government, is one of the things that I'm profoundly proud of. And I know that in 10, 15 years, if I come back and I see what's happening at the local government, I'll be proud that I indeed initiated those things. And also, we've tried to decongest some of the very commercial areas, like Holy Ghost. It's wearing a new look. Of course, again, thanks to the terminal that the governor did there. But our efforts from the beginning was to remove that gridlock that you had there in terms of the street traders, in terms of the motorists that are always causing obstructions along that area. So the fact that, again, with the support of that terminal, most of those vehicles have gone into the terminal now. So the fact that every day when I'm going to work, Holy Ghost is free is also something that I'm profoundly proud of, that we were able to achieve in this time. And again, like I said, this is in addition to most of the infrastructural things that we have done. But, we now have the orientation to take these things for granted, because they are indeed things that, people should enjoy, and enjoy very freely.
So what are you doing about the, people that are littering waste along that Holy Ghost axis? Because you are doing a lot. You have decongested that place. You have brought men and women that will man there not to allow people to park in anyhow. So the next challenge, people say, is about people that are littering that place.
Yes.
So how have been your partnership with the SWAMA?
Yes.
What?
Yes. So what we've also done,
because I think you should have a strict law that once you find people, you get them and you find them.
Yeah. So if you pay attention, a couple of months ago, we deployed wire mesh from that Chris Chemist all the way down to Holy Ghost to define the roads, and also be able to separate the walkways from the actual road, so people can walk behind that mesh. But one of the things that we've done recently is to now order, there are these modern waste bins that you see from being deployed by SWAMA in different parts of Enugu. So we've ordered that. So we're going to put it from P&T Junction all the way down to prison, right? And then we'll also sensitize people that these things are now there for you to dump your waste. And then our enforcement machinery is also now going to be deployed. When you give them that option of this is where you put your waste, right? And then once we catch you now littering the street, you know what to do. So that's what we've done. We've ordered those things. In the next 2 weeks, we should receive them, and we'll deploy them along that road.
That is quite good thinking, because that place was, something that I wanted to spoil one of the good work that you are doing. Because people are very difficult to handle. But you are doing very good job. So how will you describe the relationship between you as the council chairman and the people of Enugu North?
Again, I've been around since 2019, or rather even 2018, when we started our little campaigns at the primaries. But even before then, I had also been participating, though from the background of frontal politics from 2018. And I can say that I have enjoyed tremendous support from the people of Enugu North. Again, because I came in young, when I started trying to be frontal in the politics of the local government, I was in my late 20s. I went into the House of Assembly at, I think I was 30 or 31 at the time.
Wow.
So it took support, for people to have that level of confidence to elect you out of hundreds of thousands of people to go and represent them at the House of Assembly. It was support, and, I didn't take it for granted. And up to now, I don't take it for granted. So it's something that I'm profoundly grateful for, to the people of the local government. And again, it didn't just stop at the elections. After I emerged and went into the House of Assembly, there was just this desire to also provide guidance. They understand that you're the one speaking for them, but they also understood the need to also give you guidance. So I've enjoyed support from both the stakeholders, both the electorates, and the relationship is amazing. So for me, I enjoy a very solid relationship with my people in terms of the stakeholders, in terms of the youth.
Yeah.
Of course, there are different categories of stakeholders in the local government because Enugu North is, a largely urban local government. So you also need to craft ways of relating with the different segments of stakeholders. But for me, all in all, it's been support all along.
Dr. Ibe, you have been around doing many administration in Enugu. What do you think is different and unique about the administration of Governor Peter Ndubuisimbah?
I think I also answered a bit of that in one of the questions that you had asked me. I feel that the government we enjoy today in Enugu is one that is a blessing to us, right? And we shouldn't take it for granted. I see in the governor someone who, one, has the ideas, right? Has the mental capacity to generate these ideas, think about these things, have a vision for where he wants Enugu to go to. But indeed, it doesn't stop at that, right? You can find people who have that capacity to create things, imagine things, envision things, but then also don't have the capacity to put the machinery in place to execute them. Yeah. So now, beyond that layer of grace that God has given to the governor in terms of the ability to envision things, the ability to think out things, God has also endowed him with the energy to execute. So I think that's where most things go wrong in leadership in Nigeria, the execution, right? So I think that for us in Enugu, the fact that we have a man who has, the right blend of these two, the ability to envision and also the energy and everything that it takes, the tenacity to execute, I think that's what makes Enugu State different, right? Because the governor, he doesn't just think, he thinks, and he also thinks about the process that takes us to that destination. So I think that's essentially what is different about Enugu State. He has timelines for every project. So it's not just having an idea, I want to go from point A to point B, right? He goes beyond thinking about the fact that he wants to go from point A to point B to thinking about how we will go from point A to point B, thinking about the journey all through, and also having the mechanism in place to monitor that process up until he gets to that point. So it's not something that we should take for granted. So for me, I think it's something personal to him. It's not something that he learned. It's just a gift that God has given to him to have these two blends of characteristics. I think that's what has answered the question of him.
On the last and the final one, 2027 general election is almost here. Would you say it will be an assured win for Governor Peter Ndubuisimbah, and why?
For me, I look around and I don't see that person who can do it better than the governor is doing it. And our people are aware. People are aware, people know, people see things, people hear things. And I know that people understand the value that the governor brings on board. People understand the value of the things that he's doing. People have seen the honesty of his intentions and the genuineness of his purpose. Yeah. So it's very clear in every ward of Enugu. The governor has taken development not to the local government level, but he's now taking it down to the ward levels. When you have a governor that is sitting in government house thinking about doing projects in all the 260 wards of the local government, the direct implication of that is that in the most remote ward in Enugu, he has projects that are there. So it's something that, you don't see happening in other states. So when I look at the political system in Enugu, people are aware that there's nobody else that can do it better than Dr. Peter Ndubuisimbah. So for me, I see the 2027 election as something that, has indeed been won, by the governor. I also look around, I don't see those candidates who are able to challenge him in terms of, because politics is about the people. Yeah. Everything ultimately comes down to what can you offer the people, what can you give to the people. So I don't see, that anybody that can convince our people that they can bring anything on board that is different or even remotely better than what he's doing. It's not possible. And again, like I said, people are aware, people see these things. So our people know the direction that they're going, and clearly that direction is towards the direction of Dr. Peter Ndubuisimbah.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Ibenaku. I almost forgot something. I forgot to add that he's a barrister, an attorney.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming to the Catalyst broadcast. That's been quite an interesting conversation with you.
Thank you.
And, one thing I like about you is that ability as a young person, to inspire other young people too, to do better, to be focused, to be intentional about what they want to do. Judging from your activities and achievements, what you have been doing, both at where you are at the State House of Assembly and now as local government chairman. Thank you very much for all you do.
Thank you.
Keep on engaging young persons, because the young people need someone to guide them, need the direction, need guidance. So thank you very much for all you do for young persons and for representing the young people so well. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It has been a wonderful conversation, just like I said, with Dr. Barrister Ibenaku Onoh, the exceptional local government chairman of Enugu North local government, the city mayor we call him. Thank you for listening. See you in the next edition of the Catalyst podcast, the Tomorrow is Here series.